Let me tell you the story about the time when I had my, oh God, this really works moment in manifestation. Now, before this, I'd had plenty of successes, but they were all things that could have been passed off as coincidence. Random money from someone, or thinking of a song and I heard it a couple of days later, or things like that. And these all kind of gave me fuel for my fire to keep manifesting. But it was not really that, yep, that's it, 100%, there is no doubt this worked, until I manifested Katie back. Now, when Katie and I separated, there was a lot of evidence in the 3D to suggest that that was it. So when I started manifesting and subsequently got my result, it was that big thing to say, yep, this works. There is no doubt this works. Let me put aside any doubts about it. Let me put aside any concerns about it and just commit. So what I want to do today is I want to give you the way to create movement as fast as possible, so that hopefully that will then help give you the inspiration that I had and the clean cut, yet nothing else matters that I had, so that you can go forward furthering that movement and getting the full result. Now, I do want to preface that we shouldn't really be looking for movement, because looking for movement is in and of itself evidence that we don't have. But I'm making this video today because I understand that I can sit here and say that you shouldn't be looking for movement. You shouldn't be looking for signs. And you shouldn't be doing this, and this. But there are a big chunk of you that are still going to go ahead and do it. And therefore, I want you to do it right. It's funny, actually. My mum had a very similar way of thinking when I was younger. She was like, don't do drugs. Never do drugs. But if you ever do have to do them, like you ever want to try them and you're convinced you want to try them, do them with me, because I'm a responsible adult, as opposed to doing them with a bunch of friends that would probably just ditch you in the park if it went wrong. Bit of a strange comparison, but I think it's a good message. If you're going to do something anyway, you may as well do it right. So how do we create movement in the fastest way possible? Well, first and foremost, we need to understand what it is that we're creating. The outcome. Simple as that. What is it that you want? What is your movement? And yes, I will again restate, I think you should absolutely go to the end and just let everything be worked out for you. But this could also be taken in consideration in that aspect as well. But what is it that you want? The message, the end result, the date, a interview, an easy exam. What is it that you're wanting to focus on? What movement, once happened, will convince you that this is it and there is no turning back? Get it clear in your head. From there, you are going to make statements to yourself, or visualization, or whatever method you choose to use. But you are going to have a deciding factor that you will go back to every single time it is necessary. For example, using my Katie situation, my thing was having the reconciliation, and when things were bad, I had the I remember when technique. So I would consistently go back in my mind, we're in this loving relationship. I visualized on a few occasions us reconciling, her opening the door, and us having a big embrace and so on. And when I had bad moments, like bad thoughts and such, I went, I remember when Katie and I weren't together, but now we are. Or I remember when Katie thought we weren't compatible, but now she knows we are. And things like that. And these were my two anchors, so to speak. These were the two places that I went back to each and every time it was necessary. Whenever I thought of her, if it was a good thought, I let it play out. I enjoyed it. Positivity, great. We want more of that. If it was a neutral thought, I just went back to the end result. We've reconciled. I might even visualize the scene, whatever. Each and every time I had a neutral thought. And if it was a bad thought and I really couldn't bring myself back to that positive thought, then I use the I remember when technique as a way to guide my mind back to the positive while still allowing it that aspect of dwelling on the negative. I was still giving it that momentary release of thinking about when she said we weren't compatible, but thinking about it as though it was something in the past and not something now. And I did this each and every time a thought came up. Each and every time. Genuinely looking back and being completely transparent with you, out of hundreds of thoughts that I would have had all throughout the day, a maximum of 10 slipped by. I was so on my mental diet, it was unbelievable. And I did this each and every time. Positive thought, great, enjoy it. Your mind is clearly showing good things. Neutral thought, redirect it towards that end result. Take it back to where you want it to be. Undesired thought that I couldn't just take to the end result. I had a countermeasure. I remember when it was that way, it was insert whatever the thought is, but now it is this way. Insert the new story, the compatibility, the relationship, and so on. And I did that each and every time it was necessary to flood my mind with the desired story. In the morning when I woke up, I did some visualization, I did some scripting. At night, again, scripting, some visualization, and all throughout the day, I kept an eye on my thoughts. This created my result in less than a week. Everybody asks me how long it took to get Katie back. It took less than a week because I did not let any thoughts get through. Or very, very minimum thoughts. Like I said, a maximum of 10 thoughts a day went through, like negative ones that I didn't catch and redirect. And in less than a week, I got her. Because I made sure that every single thought that I had, I did the very best that I could. I understood that, and this is the next part, I understood that the 3D reality was old thoughts. I understood that much, even though I wasn't fully convinced at the time that manifestation was 100% foolproof and that you could do it no matter what. I'd still have those odd little things, but I understood at least enough to say that the old thoughts created your present reality. So anytime the 3D came to mind, I did not let myself invest my energy into it, because what was the point? I get that our egos flare up. I get that we have those doubts and those fears, and some of us are more logically oriented than the others and such things. I get that. But whether you're logical, whether your ego kicks in, with any of that, if you are here on this video or in this community, some part of your mind, even if only the tiniest amount, but some part of your mind believes that this really works. So if you believe that this really works, why invest your energy in anything else? If this is genuinely your golden ticket to creating that relationship, and hopefully in the future, once you've got the relationship, other great things, where's the benefit to investing said energy into anything else? And that was exactly my mentality. And that's exactly why I manifested my person back in less than a week. It was because I didn't invest in the 3D. I didn't do any of that chasing or seeing her snap score go up or posting stories to get her attention specifically or anything like that. I knew that the 3D reality was old stuff. I didn't want that old stuff, so why invest my energy into it? I knew that changing my today's thoughts creates my future reality, so why invest energy into anything less than creating the best of my present thoughts? That is how I created movement and subsequently the full-blown commitment in less than a week. A sheer commitment to the new story. But your dominant state is what manifests. Which means if you want movement in the fastest way possible, keep an eye on your thoughts. Ensure that they're not going down the wrong route. When you're not focusing on your thoughts, like when you're busy, be busy. Don't obsess over the thing. Just be aware of where you're going. Be conscious with where your mind is. There's a very, very big difference between being obsessed with an outcome and being conscious of yourself, whether or not you're directing your focus towards said outcome. Obsession toward an outcome comes more so from, I need to make this happen, it's not happening, what have I got to do, what have I got to this, what have I got to do that. Being conscious of it understands, I'm currently not doing what will create the outcome, let me redirect myself back. Once I've redirected myself back, I can then go back to insert whatever it is that I'm doing, work, hobbies, being with friends and so on, and it will still create because I've ensured my thoughts have gone that direction. So if you want to create movement and subsequently the entire end result, you need a sheer commitment to the new story and a complete detachment from the old, because it doesn't serve you anyway to focus on the old stuff. It doesn't serve you in any capacity to allow yourself to constantly ruminate and dwell on what has happened. Accept present realities for what they are, because acceptance of the reality is not condoning it, it's not liking it, it's not wanting more of it. It is simply freeing up your mind from the denial of it so you can focus on a more favorable outcome. Instead of trying to fight the 3D reality and fight where your mind goes, you're accepting the 3D reality so that there is no fight, to then be able to move on to the new outcome. There's an amazing quote in this book that I'm reading, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Definitely recommend you pick it up, that I think really translates to this. The willingness to experience and accept our feelings carries no implications that emotions are to have the last word on what we do. I may not be in the mood to work today. I can acknowledge my feelings, experience them, accept them, and then go to work anyway. So you can acknowledge the 3D reality. You can accept that it is what it is. You can accept your feelings and your hurts and your pains toward it, but that doesn't dictate where you go forward unless you allow it. This means that you can accept all of these things, but still choose to think favorably. You can accept all of these things, but still choose to have a focus that will benefit your end result. Just because those emotions and experiences have arisen does not mean you have to be victim to them. If you can accept them for what they are, old thoughts playing out now, you free yourself up the mental capacity to be able to go, great, let me make today's thoughts create something better tomorrow. Just because you're hurt, just because you're sad or you're missing or you're feeling that lack does not mean that you have to live by that. It just means that's what's here now. Do you want to carry that on? If no, great, don't let it interrupt what you do going forward. And that is how you will create movement in the fastest way possible. But thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you do need any one-to-one help for your situation, down below in the comment section and the description are all the links to my services where I can help you with just that. But thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.